Hello, I'm Jeff Costa, and today we are going to be talking about what I call rent convergence. When you're trying to determine what the rent is for a property, ideally you want to use multiple sources to get that information and have those sources be pretty similar or converge upon a value. Right? Because what you're looking for is the integrity of the data, the information, rather, about the rents. How much can you depend on it? And when you see roughly the same number when using multiple sources of rent information, historical rent information, it's a good bet that the rent that you're going to obtain from the subject property is going to fall in line. So here we're looking at a property in Buffalo that is a 3-bed, 2-bath duplex, 2-1 and a 1-1. For the sake of the argument here today, we're going to just look at 2-1s to understand what that rent is. Obviously, it's the bigger of the two units, and we want to understand about that rent. So the first tool I always use, and you'll see this recommended a lot, is Rentometer. Right? And I plug in the address, which I've already done, the number of beds, 2, and the number of baths, 1 only. I do a look back of 12 months. Now you could do this for shorter periods of time, sometimes 3 months, to get more recent data, but I feel like the data smooths out a little bit over the course of a year. And you'll get a little bit more accurate information, if not the most recent information. I then choose house or duplex here from the type. And you see that what Rentometer is kicking out here is an average rent of $11.91 with a median pretty close to that, right? About what, $30, $31 off. So that's a pretty good sign, right? That, okay, the rent and the median rent are close. Now, remember, you learned this somewhere probably in grade school. Averages can hide a lot of things. But here the average and the median are pretty close. I tend to go with the median just because I'm a little more conservative in my underwriting, and that's what I like to see. So the next thing I do is look at a second source of rent information. And here it is Rentometer. And I've already plugged in the address. I choose multifamily from the type, 2 beds, 1 bath, and it already pulls in the square footage. And here I get a monthly rent of $11.90. Now compare this back here to $11.91 average. That's pretty damn close. And you'd almost be thinking that they're using the same data set, but I know that they are not. But the fact that you now have a second data point to base this on is even more important, right? So now we have 2 data points. Now I go for a third. And here what I've done is I've actually gone onto HotPads and I have searched for a home nearby. Now, if you remember the address, this is 141 Nassau Ave. Here's 151, right? A few doors down the street. Very similar looking home, right? But I'm not concerned about right now what it looks like on the inside, although, you kind of should be to understand if you're looking at like for like. But here, for the sake of argument for here and to make this video end quickly, we're going to look at the rent numbers, right? $12.50 for a 2-bed, 1 bath. Again, look where we are here, $11.90. So about $60 off there. $12.50 for this one. Here, we're a little bit lower than that, right? By about $60. So it's a good way to judge the accuracy of your rent. And I kind of downplay this, but you want to look at these photos, right, to make sure that, okay, if they're asking for $11.50, is this, comparable to my actual unit? And the answer here is that this is a bit of an older unit, right? You can see the dated kitchen, some wear and tear, older appliances, versus this unit over here that has had some renovation, definitely presents better, more modern kitchen, right? So I would probably actually expect to get a little higher and be able to ask for more than $12.50. But what I do know from looking at all these examples is I should be able to get in that $1,250 ballpark, right? It's not $1,000, it's not $800, right? I would probably charge a premium because this house is a lot nicer and get a little bit of a higher rent. But even some of these tools can tell you, like, hey, here's the 75th percentile. You could probably potentially push this to $1,313, right? And even Rentcast has that as well. Like, it actually knows that there's listings that have gone as high as $1,500. So this is what I like to do when setting rent. There are certainly more sources here than I have shown you. The more sources you can include, the more accurate your estimates are going to be, and the more confidence you are going to have in your underwriting. All right, I hope this was helpful. I'm Jeff Costa, and we'll be back with another episode soon. Thanks for your time.